Okay, I'm going to show you how to configure DHCP on two routers and how to configure static route. So this is how our topology will look like. We will need two routers. Let me use 1941 router. So we'll need two of them. Then we will also need two switches. We will also need two switches. That is, let's use this one, 2960. Just need two of them. Then we need some end devices. I think we can have PCs and laptops. So we can have, let me see, two PCs on this side, two PCs on this other local area network, and also laptops, two on this side and two on the other side. Then we can connect our devices using the cables. Let's use the copper straight through cable to connect all our devices. I'm using the fast Ethernet 0, okay? On switch, you use the first available port, yeah, like that. So we just have to connect all these devices to the switch. We are having two local area networks. Then for them to connect to each other, because we will need a protocol, but we are going to configure the static route. That's what we are using. Let me do the connections first. Okay, then we connect the switch to the routers. Here we are using this port, gigabit Ethernet, okay, on the switch, because that's the available ports on that particular router. Then the routers, we will use a different cable. Let's use the copper crossover cable, okay? Before we are using the copper straight through cable, so now let's use the copper crossover cable to connect the two routers. So we are using the gigabit port to do the same. Okay, so that's our topology. Then we outline our devices in a manner that is understandable. Okay. So this is our topology. We have two local area networks. We have this one and this one. Then we have a link between the two routers that connect these two local area networks. So here, if you're asked how many networks do we have here, it's 1, 2, 3. And how many local area networks? We have only 1 and 2. the third network is being used to connect the two local area networks. So let us do some labeling so that we understand what we are trying to do. I will take a note so that I do the labeling. So on this linking network, let's have the network IP address as 10.0. Actually, let's use 11.0.0, or we can have 11.2.1.0 as our network IP address. Okay, then we can give these ports the first available IP address from this network IP address, and this port the second available IP address from this network IP address. So we can place a note here on that port. Let's have 11.2.1.1. okay, then on this side let's have 11.2.1.2 because that's the second port. Okay, so this port we are having this IP address, on this other port we are having that IP address. Okay, so that's the network IP address for that linking network. Then we go to the local area network, we do the same. Okay, the network IP address we can have, let's have 198.162.0.0. okay, so that's the network IP address. So this port, which will act as our default gateway or our default route, we need to give it the first IP address of this network. So I will give it 198.162.0.1, the first available IP address. So on this other network, let's have our network IP address as 198 also .162.2.0. okay, so that there's a difference between the two local area networks. So this is our network IP address. Then we need the first IP address to be used here as our default route. So that will be 198.162.2.1 because that's the first available IP address for that particular network. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is actually assigning these IP addresses to these ports. Because if you observe, these ports are down. Yeah, they are indicated by red, showing that they are not. Their state is not up. So we need to assign the IP addresses for these ports to turn to up. So we are going to assign this Giga 0/0 port number, this IP address. Here, this port, we're going to assign that IP address. This port, we're going to assign this IP address. And this port, we're going to assign that IP address. So we're going to do that very fast. So we go into the router, command line interface. We say no. Enable. Then configure terminal. Then in the configuration mode, we need to go into this interface giga 00. Okay, so we need to go into that interface. So we type interface gigabit 0/0. Okay, so we are starting with that. We assign that particular IP address, which is 198.162.0.1. Okay, so we assign IP address 198.162.0.1. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Then you state no shutdown. Okay, when you're done, you exit the port so that we go to the next port. You see when the port is turning up, the state to up, we go to the next port, which is 0/1, and assign that IP address 11.2.1.1. Okay, 11.2.1.1. So we go into that interface 0/1. IP address is 11.2.1.1. Subnet mask is, because this is a class A IP address, the subnet mask will be 255.0.0.0. Then no shutdown. So you see that port has changed state to up. So we are doing good. We are doing good there. So we exit that port. So we are done with this part. So we go to this other router and do the same, assigning IP address to these two ports. So let us do that very fast. No. Enable. Configure terminal. Then we go into the interface gigabit 0/0. Then IP address will be what? 162.2.1. 198.162.2.1. Subnet mask, because this is a class C IP address, the subnet mask will be 255.255.255.0. Then no shutdown. Okay, we are done with that interface. We go to the other interface, which is interface gigabit 0/1. IP address 11.2.1.2. Okay, 11.2.1.2. Subnet mask 255.0.0.0. No shutdown. You exit. Can even exit again, and we can also save our work. Copy running configurations to startup configurations. You save that. So now all our ports have gone up because we have assigned IP addresses to all the ports. So the next thing we're going to do is configure DHCP on both routers, router 0 and router 1, so that our end devices can receive IP addresses dynamically. Yeah, so that if you come to IP address, instead of static, we go to DHCP. Yeah, requesting for IP address. We need, you see, DHCP failed because we have not configured any DHCP. So we need to do that so that we receive all these details dynamically. So what we are going to do here, we start with this router to configure the DHCP. We shall call this DHCP pool router 0. The network, you need to know the network. The network IP address is this one. The default route will be this one. Then the DNS, we will use the default IP address for Google. Yeah, we will use the default IP address for Google. So we are going to create the DHCP server on this router. To do so, we're in the global configuration mode. So we can start configuring our DHCP server. IP DHCP pool. We say this one, we will call it router 0. Okay. Then the network will be the network IP address for this particular local area network, which is 198.162.0.0. So 198.162.0.0. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. The default route, it will be the first IP address of the network IP address, which is 198.162.0.1. Okay. Then for the DNS, we are using the default IP address for Google, which is 8.8.8.8. So we are done. You exit. We can close that. We can come down here and test our DHCP if it's working on the devices. So we go to that device, desktop IP configurations, then your requests, you can click there, then back to DHCP. So you find that DHCP request successful, and here are our IP addresses. Here are our IP addresses. I think let me see. I'm trying to check something. Let me exit into the privilege mode, then show running configurations. I would like to see the IP address that we assigned. We assigned .2. The default route we assigned .2. This is a mistake. It was supposed to be .1. So let me go back and rectify that. So in this conf.t interface gigabit 0/0 IP address 198.162.0.1 255.255.255.0. No shutdown, just rectifying something here. Okay, so let me request the IP addresses. Yes, now we are doing good. Because the default gateway, we gave it the first IP address. So this machine should receive the second IP address, which is .0.2. Yeah, so you see that's successful. So we can do the same for all our devices. We can go to PC2, desktop IP configurations, request for DHCP. Yeah, you see .3. So the next one will be .4. Okay, next one will be .4, desktop IP configurations, DHCP. Yeah, you see that .4, subnet mask, default gateway, and the DNS server. Then we have our last device here, which is the laptop, desktop IP configurations, your request for the DHCP server. Yeah, so we find .5. Okay, and all the details are there. So that's it. We are done with this local area network. Actually, if you go to this PC and go to the command prompt and type IP config, you realize that it shows the details that have been assigned by the DHCP, yeah, like the IP address, the subnet mask, and the default gateway IP address. And from this PC also, we can try and ping the default route or that port on the router, which is we ping the default gateway, which is this one. Okay, if we ping that 198.162.0.1, you realize that packets are reaching there successfully. Yeah, sent packets 4, received 4, lost 0. Okay, something like that. So this local area network, packets are being sent and received well. So let's do the same on this other side. We configure the DHCP and ensure that all these devices receive IP addresses dynamically. So we are going to do this very fast. We go to the configuration mode, then IP DHCP pool. This is route 1. Then the network IP address is this one, 198.162.2.0. 198.162.2.0. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Then the default route will be, of course, the first IP address of the network, which is 198.162.2.1. Yep, .1. Then the DNS 8.8.8.8. Then you exit that interface, that server. Then let me exit and confirm if we configured the default route correctly as this IP address. So I will exit to the privilege mode, then show running configurations. Yeah, you see our DHCP configurations are here. We did them successfully. So let me see what was our default route. Yeah, for this interface, we can see for that interface, it's .2.1, so it's correct. So we did it correctly. So that's it. We can now go back and test our DHCP server on the devices. So let me do it very fast. Desktop, IP configurations, DHCP. We expect a .2 IP address. Yes, you see 2.2. That's the second available. After this default gateway, we go to the second. So the next will be .2.3 on the next device. This device. So we are having DHCP. Yeah, so you see .2.3. So the next one should be .2.4 because the DHCP is assigning these IP addresses. The next available IP address is assigned to the device. So desktop IP configurations, DHCP .2.4. Okay, then our last device should have .2.5. Okay, .2.5. That's it. Then the subnet mask, the default gateway, and the DNS is working well. So we can use the laptop, any of the laptops here. We go to the command prompt and do the testing if this local area network is functioning. So IP config, we see the credentials or the properties for that particular machine, the IP address, the subnet mask, and the default gateway. Then we can do, let us ping the default route. Ping 198.162.2.1. So our 4 packets have been sent and have been received successfully. No packet has been lost. So we are experiencing a 0% loss. So this means there is movement of packets from these end devices to this port, and also from these end devices to this port. So we need to test if there is communication between these two routers. So we are going to ping this PC, this PC here, which the IP address is 198.162.0.2. Okay, so let us ping it from this machine and see what happens on the other network. Okay, remember these are 2 local area networks. So we are trying to ping 198.162. .0.2. So you see, it says that actually the default route is the one that is replying to us. 198.162.2.1, which is telling us destination host is unreachable. Okay, so we have sent 4 packets, we have received 0 packets. So we are having 4 lost packets. So we are experiencing a 100% loss. The reason why we are experiencing that is that the communication reaches here. It cannot go through this link between the 2 routers. So we need a protocol, a routing protocol in between here to enable this router learn about this other network and this router learn about this other network. So for today, we are going to use static route. We have other routing protocols, but let us just use static route, okay, to enable these 2 routers communicate with each other. So we are going to do it from here. So what you are going to do is tell this router about this network, okay, then about the next hop. or the next port from this router, which is this one. Okay, so we are going to use this network plus its subnet mask and this IP address to configure the static route. So we go into the router under the configuration terminal, then you say IP route. So we tell it about the next network, which is this one, 198.162.0.0. 198.162.0.0, then subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Then our next hop will be this port from this route, which is 11.2.1.1. 11.2.1.1. Okay, that's it. So we have configured static route on that router successfully. So we can exit and we save, copy running configurations to startup configurations. We save that. Then we go to the next router and do the same. So from here, we will tell it about this network, which is 198.162.2.0. Then the next hop, which is this particular port, 11.2.1.2. Okay, so we go to the router. So on that we say IP route. You need to be sure about the IP addresses. 162.20. 162.20. The next hop will be this one, 11.2.1.2. Then we save our configurations. So now we go and test if these two networks are communicating with each other. So let us, from here, let us ping this laptop from this other network. So this laptop here is, what's the IP address? The IP address is 198.162.2.5. 2.5. So let us ping it from here. We go to the IP configure. No, we go to desktop. Close that. We go to desktop, then command prompt. Then we ping 198.162.2.5. Okay, so we see that we have 4 sent packets, 2 received packets, 2 lost packets. Okay, so we're having a 50% loss. So the first time we are doing this, 2 packets are lost because the router is trying to learn about the other network. So in this case, you have to reping. You ping again so that you experience full communication. So you see now we are experiencing full communication. We are sending 4 packets. We are receiving 4 packets. Okay, yeah. So you have to ping again and again so that the router can learn about the other network. So we can do the same from this other side. We ping the other side. So let us ping this laptop is 0.4. Okay, let's ping it from PC3 on the other end. Command prompt ping 198.162.0.4. Okay, so first packets will get lost because the router is still learning about the other network. Here we have sent 4, we have received 3, so we need to reping so that we don't experience any loss. Yeah, so you see now it's successful, and our network is communicating with each other. And we have configured DHCP on this router so that it supplies IP addresses dynamically to this local area network. We have also configured DHCP on this router so that it supplies IP addresses dynamically to these particular local area networks. And for these two local area networks to communicate with each other, we used static route on these two routers so that this router can learn about this other network and this router can learn about this other network. And we saw that now these two networks can communicate with each other. And this is a simple representation of a wide area network where we are joining two local area networks together. So one last thing, we can try and see, like, show IP route. Yeah, so if you type show IP route on the privilege mode, you are able to see how this particular router is learning about other ports on this network. Yeah, so this one is connected. This is the static connection. Okay, and it tells you about how the network layout is. Okay, it talks about the ports. Okay, it talks about the IP addresses. Okay, it shows you this is directly connected and this is a static route that we configured, and this is what the router was able to learn about this particular network. Even this one, yeah, it was able to learn by itself because we configured this static route, and this is direct connection of this particular router. Yeah, it's connecting to this local area network and it's connecting to the link directly. The two C's you are seeing here represents the 2 ports that are directly connected to each other. But remember, we configured a static route where we are trying to educate this router about this particular network. So that static route, it's this one. Okay, where we are saying we are teaching this router about this particular network, and by doing so it was able to learn about this port and this port, which is the default route on this other network, this port here. Okay, if you go to this router also, you will able to see the same. Yeah, if you show static route, is it show static route or store? What was the command? Show IP route, sorry. Show IP route. Show IP route. So we see also this router has 2 direct connections, this port and that port, okay, which are shown on this routing table, that and that. Then we configured static route, it is there, where we are teaching this router about that other local area network. Then from that information, it was able to learn about this port and that port, which this port is a default route on this other local area network. So that's it. That's how you configure DHCP on routers and how you configure the static route. Thank you.